We're good? Okay. So, hi everybody. Welcome to Susan Egan's panel, Animation, Broadway, and Beyond. Well, so I'm assuming you know that she's Rose Quartz and Megara and a bunch of other things on Broadway, in fact.
Yeah, a bunch of other things on Broadway. That's true. I'm gonna go. Hi. I'm gonna live stream this.
Hello, you can see
Hey, everybody.
me in the purple.
On my little Yeah, it's a really good angle right up our noses. So
Precisely, that is the best angle for everyone.
So good. I know. It probably shouldn't do sideways. Should we do it this way? Is that better for people?
That's better framing.
Okay, good. Okay. Hi, everybody. Say hi to everybody. Hi, everybody. So good. Okay, we're gonna ask away.
All right, so here's an easy question.
Oh yeah. Okay, good.
How's your MomoCon going yourself?
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So I've never been to MomoCon before, and it's amazing. I love Atlanta anyway, but I'd never been to the aquarium, and I went last night, and the whale sharks. It's all about the whale sharks.
Sharks are
so
awesome.
Brilliant. It was so amazing. But seeing all of your costumes, and I love the anime slant here, and all of it. So I'm digging it. It's been really fun meeting you guys. So. Thanks, yes. And everybody's it's such a love fest. Do you know? Two belles meet in the center of the floor, and they're not like, my bell's better than your bell. They're like, your dress is amazing, your wig is amazing. And I love that whole feeling at conventions anyway, because I think our world needs a little more of that. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's very warm and
it is.
Nice.
It is.
All right, so let's get started with the questions I wrote down. So, did you always know that you wanted to be an actor?
Oh my goodness, no. So I was brought up in a family that was very academic and did not think I ever wanted to be an actress. I actually started out figure skating when I was a kid, and it was a long way to the ice rink, and my mom and I would listen to musicals to kill the time as we sat in traffic. And then my skating routines always happened to be to like a song from Annie or a song from Evita or a song from, and when I decided to stop skating, I had a lot of time to fill, and my friend Julie was into theater, and she says, well, you should try out for the school musical because you can dance because you used to skate. I'm like, oh, okay. And I kind of fell into it. She was the star of our school, and she wanted to take voice lessons, and she needed a carpool partner. And so her mom drove one way, and my mom drove the other way. And I fell into it, and it was such a better fit. But I still dream on ice skates, so when I hear music, I still choreograph on skates because you can do things that you can't do just on feet. And so it's still like ingrained in me, but musical theater was my be-all, end-all, and I got into voice acting through that. Okay. Because when I did Hercules, they were looking for an actress to be both the singing voice and speaking voice because it had been a few movies since they'd had that. I said this at the panel earlier, but if you haven't been there. So yeah, so I tripped over this into from musicals.
All right. So was there like a one experience that was like, aha, this is the thing I should be doing?
I think it was, so I was in the chorus of the shows, and then when I started taking those voice lessons with my friend Julie, our church was doing a summer production of Godspell, and we happened upon a great teacher, and I had a very small voice before that, but her technique, my voice improved really rapidly, and just within that production, I got my first solo, and that was when I first sort of figuratively and literally realized I have a voice, and I have something I want to say, and from there on out, I started being cast in roles, and I took advantage of all the community theater where I grew up, and got as much stage time as I possibly could, and then went to college, and then pursued it, moved to New York after that.
All right. I'm reading things.
Did I get an A? Was that the right answer? You're like, yes.
Star.
Okay.
Heart.
Good. Okay, good. Yes, good.
Okay, so between like stage, film, and voiceover, what would you say the biggest differences are between those?
That's a great question. And so theater is, it's okay. Theater is an actor's medium. Television is a writer's medium. The writers are the executive producers and the ones in control. Film is a director's medium. I would say animation is also director-writer oriented. I love doing all of it because they really fuel each other. I also am a little, I like having my irons in many fires because I think I would get bored just doing one thing. I learned to be a better stage actress because of being a voice actress, because you have to be expressive, and theaters are so big these days that those people in the balcony can't see your expressions either, so having an expressive voice is great. But I love theater because the story is told in chronological order. And so you really have control over the development of that character and the arc. And also, I get to be in a room with the people who are experiencing it, and I get to hear their reaction in real time. And it's something you don't get in any other medium. And that's why I like coming to the cons, because I finally get to meet you, and you get to tell me what you think of Steven Universe and how it affected you. And that's something in theater you get immediately. But it's kind of fun to, dabble in all of it.
So I've talked to like other voice actors who have done like Broadway and stage training, and they've said that this has definitely helped enhance their acting ability while they're doing voiceover. So since you've done both these things, would you say that is something that is true?
I do think it's true. I think theater training is great for everybody. In fact, Zach Callison said this in the last panel, that if you're looking to get into this, get into theater first. There's something about being a theater actor where I just think, you've been up on stage, you've bombed, you've succeeded, and you're not afraid to do anything, to try anything, and just to be ridiculous. Now, put yourself in a booth, a small, 6 foot by 6 foot booth, and they're like, okay, you're being carried by a centaur, and there's a fish down your top, and go. And you just have to, go, oh, okay. There's no sense of memory. I've never been in that situation. But I'm also, you're in this very dry environment, and you have to provide it for yourself. And in theater, you also do, because you're limited to the confines of a stage, and you're not going to have real things. It's two-dimensional sets, and you kind of just have to fill in the blanks. And you definitely have to do that in animation, because I've never been a giant woman, but now I get to be a giant woman. And so, you just want to just never box yourself in, and just try anything. And I think a lot of people are scared of looking foolish. And if you are going to. And the moment you get over that fear, I think that's where voiceover starts getting really, really fun. I almost wish that they would film it and show you guys what we look like in the booth, because it is totally ridiculous. It is mortifying.
I'm sure you can find videos online of someone. I know there's one of the rocks somewhere.
Our recording sessions at Steven Universe are so highly secretive that we couldn't. But, you should see Michaela.
So, would you say that your experience between those, is it hard to transition between them, or would you say that...
You would think that it wouldn't be, but Michaela even said this earlier, where it's just acting. It's always just acting. You want to come from a place of authenticity. You want to put yourself in the position that the character is in. What are the stakes? What informed how they got to where they are? What happened just before the scene started? Where is it going to lead? And what state of mind would you have to be in to justify the choices they're about to make in this script? Now, maybe that puts us on another planet, or now we're in a home world, or now I'm a diamond who's decided to, spoiler alert, blah 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 blah, and become Rose, or maybe I'm a woman in a bad marriage who's considering divorce on this episode of NYPD Blue. It doesn't matter. The stakes and the realities are real to those characters, and you have to come from a place of authenticity, because audiences are very smart, and they're going to know if it's fake, right, like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So are there any personal experiences that you tend to pull from when you're portraying any
Yes.
characters?
So you're going to share certain qualities with characters and not share certain qualities in characters. So, for Belle, I'm kind of cerebral. I read a lot. Those are kind of things. I'm a little bit of an oddball, so I could relate to that. I play Sally Bowles on Broadway, and I'm not a heroin addict, and I never have been a heroin addict. So I couldn't really draw from that. But you can still place yourself in the situation, and, what drove her to that position, and how would you behave in that situation? How would I, Susan, behave in that situation given the circumstances that character is in? Even though I haven't been there, it's still drawing from me and my thinking and all of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so out of the characters you played, would you say there are any of them that you've played that are the least like you? Like, which one would be the least like you? And how would you approach that?
Gosh, the question is always, which character are you the most like? And that would be Meg. I joke that, like, when I was Belle, I was acting, but Meg is right where I live. It's like, sarcasm was the first thing I taught my children. It took them some years, just take your time cleaning your room. They're like, you want me to take more time cleaning my room? Yes, Nina, I want you to take more time cleaning your room. Yeah, and don't bother putting any of that away. It's fine where it's okay there. Yeah, and then she was like 5, and she's like, that's sarcasm. And I'm like, my job here is done. So good.
Mother would.
But who am I the least like? I mean, in some ways, I'm the least like Rose. Not just because she's alien. I'm also like her because of the mother thing. But I, like you, can't figure out why. A lot of the time with her. I mean, I know why she became Rose. I know why she would fight for Earth. I know all of that. I don't know why she would leave a child. But she didn't have a choice. But it's still, she had the choice to have a child, to put that in position, to put him in that position, and yet she is him. It's all very complicated. But I really have a hard time with that. Like I say, I don't think I'm Sally Bowles, but I get it. I get what would drive somebody there to a very dark place.
So you have to find just even the smallest piece of
you do.
yourself.
You find a kernel that is like you, and then you build from there.
Okay.
And that's what keeps it honest. Yeah.
Awesome. So, la 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 la. Okay, so talking about similar and different characters, do you prefer to play ones that are similar to your personality or opposite?
I had a great director, Sam Mendes, who said that you seem to have the perfect role at the perfect time in your life. There's always something in your life that can uniquely inform that character's story, and that's probably why you got the part, right? And then there's always something in the character's world that can inform and teach you something about your life. And that's true. Sally Bowles is another example. It's from a play called Cabaret, and it's very dark and gloomy. But Sally was sort of struggling in her life at a point when I was struggling in my life too, and so that was very similar. And you do learn lessons. I learn from Steven Universe all the time, and that's really just from the wisdom of Rebecca Sugar and opening my eyes to what is needed in this world and just making the world a better place, and I get to be a part of that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just personally, I really enjoyed your performance.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
So, talking more about Broadway, I read that Hercules is now a musical.
Yeah, Hercules is coming to New York. Yeah, it's going to be through the Public Theater this summer. It's going to be in Central Park, which is going to be glorious. Outdoor venue is perfect for Hercules. I know some things about it that are highly secret, but I'm hoping that it's such a successful run and well received that then it does make the transfer to Broadway. So I'm hoping, because I got to be in those recording sessions with Lilias White, Cheryl Freeman, and LaShawns, and Roz Ryan, and to hear that stuff live, those gospel harmonies live, and I was the only other person in the room besides, the engineer and the directors and, Alan Menken and everybody listening, but the creative team, and it is just time for all of that music to be heard in a live space where you guys can just preach it.
Would you want to play Megara if they gave you
I'm
a
49.
chance?
If they cast me as Meg, they would be stupid.
Just
a little.
Thank you very much.
Yes, if it's a very large arena space and everybody was nearsighted, then yes, those would be ideal conditions for me to play Megara. No, I know who's playing Megara, and she is a pal, and she is brilliant, and so it's fine. It's the time to pass the torch. It's all good.
Right.
Get it? Greek.
So I guess, is she your dream cast for that role?
She is. In fact, people for years have asked, if anybody could play Meg, who would you want to see play Meg? And I've always tweeted this person name. Not like I'm responsible. I just think that they're really smart people who are casting it too. So Disney's pretty smart.
Well, maybe they want your opinion. You were mega right.
I'm sure that they're like, we don't know what to do. We're at a loss. We don't know how to produce anything. We, the Walt Disney Company. I know. Let's go back 5 years in Susan's tweet record and see who she would cast. I am certain that is exactly what happened.
Totally was.
Yeah.
Totally was.
Totes.
Okay, so kind of a little in the same vein. If Steven Universe became a musical on stage, is there a musical number or like one scene that you would love to see portrayed live?
Oh, there are so many things that I would love to see portrayed live. I want to meet Garnet's my favorite character. And so, like, I want to see that. I don't know how you would do it live. How would you do the fusions? Like, what would you do? But people could figure it out. They could figure it out. They're very smart. Yeah. I mean, honestly, a lot of this, I would want to see the same cast. Wouldn't you want to see Patti LuPone? Wouldn't you want to see...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Christine Ebersol. Like, honestly, Estelle, yes, please.
Of course.
You know, everybody. Oh, my gosh. How many of you were at the panel earlier for Steven Universe? Yeah. Dee Dee is Pearl, right? She just is.
She really is.
She really is. So it would have to be Dee Dee. Yeah, no, all of it. Let's just start at the beginning and just do a marathon live play. It would take years. It'd be so good.
Episodic musicals. Come back tomorrow for the next musical episode.
Yeah. Be good.
Okay. Man, I couldn't even come up with an answer to that question. I was just like,
it's so good.
All of it.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
All right. So you already answered the next question. Okay. So you've also done musical albums.
Yes.
So I listened to some of them.
Good.
I really liked the Apology Song one.
Oh, yeah,
really
that's
funny.
so good. It's a good song. It's by Christine Lavin, who's really funny. And I steal her music all the time. She's awesome. Yeah. It's about a woman. It's called Regretting What I Said when you called me up at noon this afternoon to tell me that you were going to go skiing in Europe, and you invited me to come with you, but I couldn't come with you because I can't get that much time off of work, and I can't afford it anyway. But after all these years, I don't like surprises. It's subtitled A Musical Apology, and it's like, I didn't mean it when I said I hope the cable in the elevator snaps as you step on board. And the whole thing is about just like the awful things this girl says to her boyfriend. And it's just such a testament to, like, sometimes, ladies, we just need to shut our mouths because we get ourselves into such trouble. And I was joking when I said, I hope you crack your head on the, get mangled by the downstairs revolving door. And I was kidding when I said, I hope the number 103 bus hits and makes a pancake out of you. I'm sorry. Isn't it amazing what a woman in love will do? Yeah, it's so good. It's so passive aggressive. And aren't we all just a little bit?
Just a little.
Yeah, just a little.
So, what would you say you have a favorite musical
genre? Well, yeah. So
genre.
I did Broadway for so many years, like 15, 16 years. And I've got, 7 or 8 albums out, but I'm on like 60 different albums of like cast recordings and compilation albums and things like that. I sing with symphonies most of the time. The con thing is sort of new for me, but that's mostly what I do. I'll be with the Philly Symphony this summer, and then also Chicago, so if anybody lives anywhere there. So I've got all these albums out, and they're super fun. They're all downloadable, and yeah, it ranges from Broadway music to sort of, I've got a coffee house album, which is kind of an acoustic, smaller sound, which is great. And then my latest album is called Softly, and it's taking traditional Broadway music, but kind of redefining it and making it not so big and brassy, but kind of really chill. It's like something that you could have on in the background if you're drinking wine, or it could even be a lullaby album for kids. And I just really love it. I've worked with really cool jazz musicians in LA to make that one. So you can check it out. They're all on iTunes.
I did really like that one. I was listening to it while I was working on your question.
Oh, good.
So do you have a guilty pleasure song?
Guilty pleasure song. So like a lot of the songs that I sing, I'm just required to sing at symphonies. Like everybody wants to hear the song The Green Girl sings, so I sing that one a lot from Wicked. But what do I love to sing? I love singing anything Sondheim. I love Stephen Schwartz. I know we're at a con here. We're not at Broadway Con. I don't know if you guys know who all those people are. I always love Alan Menken because Alan Menken, yeah, he knows how to write for a woman's voice like better than anybody. You know, you just go into, it just feels like massaging your throat. Like the songs just feel good to sing. So all of Belle's stuff is always fun. You know, it's like, oh, isn't this amazing? Like it just flows. He's brilliant. So I like to sing. I'll sing anything.
What was I gonna follow up with that? My bad. Okay, we're just gonna do another question. La, la, la. Okay, so there is a Broadway princess party?
Yes.
What is this?
There was a Broadway
there
princess
is.
party.
Sorry,
there
there
is
is.
a Broadway princess party. Do any of you know what Broadway princess party is? Out here? Okay. So Broadway Princess Party is a company that I put together. It was started by a guy named Benjamin Rahala and Laura Osnes. Do any of you know Laura Osnes? She is the it girl in New York City on Broadway. She's brilliant. If you know that reality show, You're the One That I Want, she's the one who won and got to play Sandy in the revival of Grease on Broadway a few years back. And then she's become a huge Broadway star, including playing Cinderella in the latest revival. She was the original Cinderella there. And we got together with Courtney Reed, who's the original Jasmine in Aladdin on Broadway, and myself, Belle. And we started doing these concerts with all the original princesses, Broadway princesses in New York, where we just get together on a Monday night at 54 Below and we jam all the princess songs, and it became this sort of cult hit. Now, none of them knew the con world, like you guys. And so I sort of told them, I go, Princesses is a brand that really goes from Broadway to animation to live action film to the con world. And wouldn't it be great to invite cosplayers to come? And so we've really branched out to that, and we now are on a national tour. You can go to BroadwayPrincessParty.com. We've got like 30 dates coming. And it is the original Broadway princesses singing these songs like you have never frickin' heard them before. Because when we sing Let It Go, it is in 4-part harmony, and
nice.
it is like killer to the back wall anthem about your life. Like just let it go in amazing harmonies. We've got more than like 30 million hits on YouTube, so you can check us out on YouTube. But come to the show because it's a party. And if you come in cosplay, which all of you would, we throw prizes at you from the stage. Because we need to get the Broadway community understanding what LARPers are. They need to understand what this world is because they love these characters just as much. And it's like, now we need to bring it to the next level where it's truly interactive. And it's all about you guys singing with us. And we sing everything. And then we always have we'll have a competition locally. We'll bring a local girl up and she can sing anything she wants,
That's
Tiana,
nice.
Pocahontas, whatever she wants to be. And it's just about loving on these characters and loving the music. And it's a lot of the message that Steven Universe has, where we are all different. Everybody has an inner princess. That trucker who's tatted up to his neck has an inner princess, and that 8-year-old little boy's got an inner princess, and that 20-year-old girl who's coming with her 50-year-old mom who wants to relive her childhood, they've got inner princesses. The new mom who hasn't been out since that baby was born, she's got an inner princess, and she needs a reason to put on heels again, right? Yeah, the college kids, yes, I've been there. The college kids, the drama kids, the nerds, the outcasts, everybody has an inner princess. And we want the princess message to be one of positivity, not that negative princess connotation of spoiled. That doesn't play. And it's so much about celebrating you guys. So come to it. It's really, really, really fun. Check us out on YouTube and come follow us at all the links are on BroadwayPrincessParty.com. Yeah. We're going to do an album this year.
Oh, yeah. Heard about that. Yeah,
I know.
kind of excited about that.
So cool.
So while you're on stage, I read when you were playing Belle that you broke a bone?
So when they say break a leg? Yeah. So the first year, I was lucky enough to be nominated for a Tony Award as Belle, and the week before the Tony Awards, I broke my arm on stage. So in the Tonys that year, I had a cast on my arm, but they didn't want to show it. Each musical that's nominated gets to do a segment of their show, the Tony Awards takes place at a theater, and they can't transfer everybody's set to the theater to do those segments. So the way it actually works is we do a little bit of the segment live during the Tonys, but actually we pre-taped a lot of it that required the set. So with Beauty and the Beast, for example, we did a segment of Be Our Guest, but we needed the set, so we pre-taped that. So the problem was this, that I pre-taped our segment for the Tonys before I broke my arm. And then I broke my arm, and then we had to do the live segment at the Tonys, and so they had to disguise the cast.
Oh, no.
So like all of a sudden, Belle, so like Freudian. Bella's got long sleeves. Anyway, you can go on YouTube, and it's the 1994, before any of you were born, the 1994 Tonys, and you can see, if you do 1994 Tonys, Beauty and the Beast, you'll see our segment, and you'll see like, I'm standing with Gaston and my arm is in 90 degrees and I'm doing a little number with Gaston, and then you'll see I'm in Be Our Guest and my arm is like this, and it's like, oh, broken arm, not broken arm, and it goes back and forth like 3 times, and it's really good. But yeah, I broke my arm the first year, and then the second year I went to Los Angeles. We opened the company in Los Angeles, 7 of the original cast, and then I broke my foot in LA, so they just called me Calamity Belle.
But you got all the good luck, right?
I guess, I don't know. I guess that was that good luck? I don't know.
It's supposed to be like
Maybe.
good luck. That's what
Yeah,
it's
to
supposed
say break a
mean.
leg, because the opposite happens. So like maybe if more people said break a leg, maybe if people had wished me luckily, then I
okay.
wouldn't have had those broken bones, right?
But what if you had a broken
Because in the
wish?
theater, the worst thing you could say to somebody is good luck. You want to give them a negative thing because the opposite always happens. So that's why they say break a leg.
Well, you just remember that for next time. Be like, no, don't tell me that.
Yeah. So, yes, it's all of their faults.
Yes, of course it is. Of course.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna go back to Steven Universe really quick. I just want to know what has been your favorite part about working on Steven Universe.
Oh, I think honestly meeting the fans, and I'm not saying that because I'm getting to meet you here, but it's true, because I had to be educated about a lot of the stuff that is in Steven Universe, and it's brilliant. And again, I just think Rebecca has a way of seeing what we need. A lot of us know what the world needs, but she's able to voice it and articulate it in such a beautiful, loving, accepting, non-threatening way. And I think it's been great to learn from that, and then to meet so many people that are affected by it, who find a kinship with a character on Steven Universe that they might not have seen in the media before, because she has done that for all of us. And I just think it's amazing. So just lucky.
Yes. No. So we'll do some Q&A soon.
Yeah. Yeah, do you guys have some questions? Make them hard. Yeah. Heckling works too. Feel free.
I just got a couple more questions I want to ask you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about farming, but that might take
Oh
a
yeah,
while.
you can. That's okay. I won't talk very long.
Okay.
Yeah, I love to farm.
Okay, so yeah, I was like, farming.
Yeah, so I've got a farm in Temecula, but we're actually moving now. We're going to move to Tennessee so we can live on a farm full time.
Oh, see,
So-
that's what I was wondering. I'm like,
Yeah.
you had this farm in California.
We're going to sell
You gonna
that. That
have
was our
another one?
practice farm.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 900 avocado trees, so I'm
Oh, wow.
really going to miss that, because you can't grow avocados in Tennessee, and it's like, oh, the guac. Gotta
But you
guac
gotta-
the guac.
yeah.
So, yeah, but we want to build this farm. We want to make it a destination for people to like learn more about farm to table, and also bring our artistry into it. My husband works in the entertainment industry as well, and we want to sort of make it an artisan place where people can come and they can stay on the farm, and we'll have artists working there in residence, and you can learn from them, but also we'll have like a farm to table restaurant, and you can participate in that too and make it really interactive, and we're really excited about that. Yeah.
That sounds like a really awesome idea.
Yeah, that's
I'd
gonna
be,
be fun.
I'd be all for that. So just one more.
Okay.
So when you were starting out, if you could talk to yourself then, what would be one piece of advice you would have given yourself?
Honestly, I was given really good advice,
Okay.
which was listen to yourself. I'm speaking at a graduation next week, and it's what I want to talk about with them too. Of like, you know, we've got that inner voice. We've got that inner voice that's like, yes, those pants don't look good on you. But that's not the inner voice I'm talking about. That one you like pat on the head and you nod and you push it to the side. But that other voice that sort of makes you gravitate towards this job instead of that job or this person, that's the voice that we don't trust often enough. And it leads to the right place. And it leads you down a path that you might not have written for yourself, right? We think we know what's best for us. But oftentimes, if you think your world and your life is going to arrive looking a certain way, which a lot of young people do out of school, they think, oh, my opportunities are going to look like this. Well, then they're going to miss out on the opportunities that are actually presenting for themselves. And so I want to keep the blinders off, to keep your eyes open, stay open, and look around. And I don't know why I did that. I made some very unconventional choices as far as the industry is concerned. But I'm a really happy person. And had I made the choices that maybe an agent might have said I should have taken, or somebody said, oh no, you can't pass up that job, well, I wouldn't have met my husband, I wouldn't have had the kids that I have, you know. Anyway, so our paths are all unique, and who knows what it's gonna be. And also life has so many chapters, and don't be afraid, you know. Courage isn't not being afraid. Courage is moving forward despite the immense fear that you have. And so everybody has the possibility of changing the world just in the world that surrounds us. And if everybody did that in a positive way, we would be in a very different place. And I feel like sometimes the problems seem enormous, but they're not. They're just deal with the ones right in front of you and try and leave that grocery store clerk a little bit happier, or that girl who's signing you into the audition a little bit happier, because you know, they all have their lives too with their issues. And if you can be positive, I find that success follows. I find that there are people who are kind of not nice and they get ahead, but only for a short while. It doesn't last. And the people who are kind consistently do really well. So be kind. That would be my wise words.
That's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
It's
that.
true. Thank you. Are we at question time?
We are at question time,
okay, you guys, bring it
if you
on.
could line up over here by this mic, I've got my runner coming up
Are
at
we
you.
still going live? Is it working, everybody? Yeah, I think it's still working.
Okay, I'll stop cheesing. It's fine.
Hi. Go for it. Hi,
So,
darling.
do you have any tips or advice for amateur actors?
Yeah, so the industry, the question was tips or advice for amateur actors. The industry is so different than when I was when I was first starting out, because now you have all these platforms. And what I would say to you is own the content, right? It's one thing to audition for things that other people have decided to produce. I was lucky that they did, my big break was Beauty and the Beast on Broadway. But what if they had decided to do Aladdin first? Like, I would not have been a cast, right? So I was just lucky that I happened to be right for the thing they happened to decide to do first. So I say now, write your own stuff. Film it with your friends on your iPhone, edit it together, and put it up on the internet. Create your own content. You will find now it's not about 3 networks finding the massive audiences. It's about micro audiences and finding your own following. And you can develop it yourself. And the big things that are being produced, they might find you that way. That is how they're looking for talent. Seeing the followship of, of all these different, entities online, on YouTube, whatever. Or maybe it will just grow out of you and you'll get that production deal. Or maybe you'll start your own network and that's how it'll be done. But there's no set way anymore. And so just be creative. If you're not getting jobs offered to you that you want, if things aren't being produced that you're right, then make it. Make it yourself. And honestly, that's the most interesting stuff that's happening anyway. Good luck. Hi.
Hi there. My question is kind of similar to hers. I'm kind of a beginning actress. Sorry, I'm kind of losing my voice.
Oh, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah. I've participated in several high school plays, most of which were either ensemble roles, minor roles, or tech. Do you have like any advice for like vocal stuff and
Yeah, take class. I mean, community organizations have classes all the time. You need stage time. Get up there. If you're not getting stage time with the productions that you're auditioning for, then get into a class, because every single week in that class you are performing, and it's going to get you over your hurdles. You're also going to find out more about yourself and what works for you. Like, what worked for me was kind of being a zany ingenue, like a little wacky, a little off-center, not your typical sort of traditional ingenue. And I don't get cast a lot because of that. But the things I do get cast in, I get to be me, and they like it, and they get it. And so those are the jobs you want anyway. So if they're just not getting you, then again, create your own stuff, come up with your own ensemble of people, and produce it yourself, or go get in class and just learn more things to put in that bag of tricks. So when you're at that audition and they ask you to do something a certain way, you've had practice doing it.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Hi, so you've talked a lot over the past week at MomoCon about, your work on Steven Universe and on Hercules and on Broadway. So I was just wondering, what was it like working on Spirited Away?
Oh, so Spirited Away was like the polar opposite, right? When you're doing animation, typically it starts with the storyboards, right? The script and storyboards. And so I would see, Meg is on a centaur. It's been sketched out on this little storyboard. But of course, Spirited Away already existed. It was a full film, Miyazaki film in Japan. And what we had to do was translate it into English. And so the scriptwriters did that. But now I'm looking at the screen, and it's ADR, and you hear in your headphone, beep, 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 and then you say the line, like, Sen, come over here, whatever it is, right? And your lips need to go up and down when the animated character's lips are going up and down, but it also has to sound totally natural, and then also has to have an attitude about it, and seem authentic. And then as you're doing it, you might say, hey guys, if I say, Sen, why don't you come over here? Because there seem to be more syllables in her mouth. That might work better. They're like, yes, let's try it that way. So it's this really weird puzzle, bringing it together, that I really dug. Like, I'm super cerebral. I'm a complete Ravenclaw. And I loved the puzzle making of that and trying to figure it out and come up also at the same time with the whole characterization, right? So that it didn't look like the voice came second, so that it still looked like the voice came first. I loved doing that, and then I got to do it again with Porco Rosso, and it was awesome. I loved it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. So you mentioned loving Stephen Sondheim, which is interesting because I have a special place in my heart for Sondheim where all my nightmares come from.
Oh, well.
So
yes.
I was wondering if you have any theater nightmare stories, I guess aside from any
yes.
broken bones.
So, yes. I have, and then I'm going to share another nightmare with you that another actress has that makes me laugh so hard. So my nightmare is, oh my God, we never learned Act 2. And you're at intermission and you realize, wait, we never rehearsed Act 2. Like, I don't know any of the lines. I don't know the blocking. And it's just this like horrible scene. Well, I worked really early in my career with a woman named Anne Reinking, who is amazing dancer and actress. She did all the Bob Fosse musicals. She's kind of brilliant. But she's a dancer first, so she came to this through dance. And dancers, of course, count to 8, a 5, 6, 7, 8, and you start. Her nightmare is horrifying to me. She hears 5, and she wakes up in bed, and by 6, 7, 8, she has to get to the theater, get dressed, get to the wings, and enter the stage. And I'm like, talk about anxiety dreams. She says, oh my gosh. So whenever she's stressed in her life, she has this dream of 5, 6, 7, 8. And can you imagine, just the panic, just the adrenaline spike in your body. Actor nightmares are the worst.
I can imagine.
The worst. I also have this recurring nightmare that I forgot to take English and I'm not going to graduate high school. Like, does anybody have that? Like, you get to the week before graduation, like, wait, I forgot to take English. It's so basic, so dumb.
Awesome.
Or the one where all my teeth fall out.
Oh,
That's a common
It's
one.
very common. I know.
Hello, Mom.
Hi, Stephen.
That actually is my birth name. I don't even remember from yesterday.
Yes, I do.
That's really precious. I know it sounds like like all the voice actors have watched like all of the show of Steven Universe from that's been released. So I'm curious, since you're so into music and you talked about how you just love to sing in general. My favorite genre of music is heavy metal.
Oh.
So, if there were to be a character in Steven Universe
Well,
that
then,
would be the biggest metalhead,
It's
or
Greg. I mean, stop it.
okay, all right, but he's more like rock. What about like
I
a
don't
gem?
know. He's like
Bismuth?
over. Well, yeah.
Or
Jasper.
Jasper?
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure about her or Bismuth.
She would
like, I didn't know
shred
who
it.
would be. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I was curious about.
Yeah. Avenged Sevenfold, babe. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Steven.
Hello.
Hello.
I wanted to flag something that you talked about earlier. You talked about how theater, you get to see everything in chronological order, and you get to see the live reaction of it. And I know that a lot of the times in animation, they'll record stuff out of order, they'll go back, or even if they do it, it's over the course of a few days, you don't know how it's going. So I'm curious as to what's your emotional reaction getting to do all those parts and then seeing them kind of put together after the fact.
I mean, that's the magic of the animated situation. The directors are so important. And in this case, it's directors and writers. So Rebecca really explains it to you, like how the vision is going to be. And she's so good at articulating it. I mean, we see sketches, we see the storyboards, but she'll tell us what the final animation is going to look like and how it's going to be shot. And I mean, well, it's not shot, it's drawn, but even drawn at certain camera angles, right? So you know if it's super close up or you know if it's going to be far away, which changes the voicing of it. But they really fill in all the details that you don't have. But I remember in Hercules, again, it was just the sketches, and then Hercules, we recorded over about 18 months because they would get to the next phase of things, and we might need to do some re-records, or maybe the scene was taking too long and we need to tighten it up, or maybe they rewrote because they felt like it wasn't working. And so they would show us what they had, and there's this point in animation where it goes from the black and white sketches, and like every, 1,000 frames, I'm making that number up, but every once in a while you see a full color frame of what it's gonna be, of what the final movie's gonna be, and it's so like, because it's so vibrant and so amazing, and it gives you chills, and it's so fun to be a part of that process and to see it happen over time, and also, frankly, to meet the animators. In that situation, it was Ken Duncan, and just how he was able to, get the characters to move. It's just, I am so in awe, and I'm amazed that the voice actors get so much attention because, honestly, we work the least on this, and it's really dependent on all these other talents.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Great question.
So you've obviously had experience with voice dubbing, having been in Spirited Away and in Porco Rosso. I was just wondering if there was like a television anime show that you would like to be a part of. What would it be, and which character would you like to voice in it?
Okay, so I like doing new things, so I want it to be a new project, but I really want to do a television show that I get to be a part of more because, with Hercules, it's 2 hours, and then that's it. Like, that's as much character development as I get with Meg. And with Rose, she's not in all that much, and it's all sort of flashback. But I would love to be a character that is on something for 5 years where it develops and it evolves, because that is so interesting, where it gets more complex, and doing something over time where I get to live with that character for a long period. And it can be anything. I'm open to it. And again, I'm probably not the best judge of what it should be, so I'll just wait for it to come and figure it out. Let the universe decide.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, I'm so good, thanks.
So your character Rose Quartz represents love and unconditional love and loving everyone else. I want to know some examples of how Rose Quartz affected your daily living and how you view the world now.
I don't fully understand her yet. I mean, I think there's a lot to mine there. Pun intended, I guess. Yes, she's love. But what's interesting about her is that she's also selfish, and she's also impetuous, and it depends at what timeline. Like, is it Rose recording the VHS tape for Steven? Or is it Rose shortly after, deciding to be just Rose, where she's still kind of that teenage form? What do I learn from her? I learned to be fierce. I learned the warrior thing. I learned that life is hard and that sometimes you have to make it the least worst decision. And I think that's the situation she was in. She had to make which decision is least terrible. And so that's what she had to do. And that's life. And I think, like, as a human being in this planet, sometimes those are the situations you're in. And and so I think she chooses the most loving in those. And I think that's a lesson that we can all learn. She's more chill than I am as a mom and a human being. So I also love that about her. And I think about that a lot.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks. Good question.
Hello.
Hello.
I was curious, how did you feel about, bringing Meg back to life during the Kingdom Hearts
Oh,
games?
yes! I was so excited! Kingdom Hearts 3!
And what did you think of the story overall?
Oh, it was great. It was great. The story's always great. I love the writing. It was so fun because it's the same team. And, I mean, it's been 20 years. It was literally, 20 years when I recorded Kingdom Hearts 3 since Hercules had come out. And to just get to revisit and, like, find that voice again and also change some of the lines, like, oh, okay, Meg wouldn't really say that, but she might say this. They're like, yeah, you're right. And so that's cool. It's like, get that edge in. Like, they had her a little bit too nice. Like, yeah, she would not say that genuinely. Like, she'll say a genuine line, but only after, like, 2 snarky lines first. So, yeah, it was really cool. I would love to do more of that.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hi.
Hi.
You were talking about how you, with Rose, you have a separate way of thinking with her. You don't really get her, which is also always a really weird thing to have with a character whenever you're playing them. But my question is, what advice would you give to Steven as yourself that you think he wouldn't get from Rose, just because of her way of
Oh,
thinking?
that Susan would give
Yes.
to Steven.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the interesting thing that didn't come up in the panel earlier, and I didn't want to chime in, but we're all struggling with the question of how much are we our parents.
Same.
So even though Rose really is Steven, we all are. We are all half mom and half dad genetically, and with that comes personality traits or tendencies or health issues or addiction issues or whatever, and we all have a feeling about our parents, and that is the gamut, some good, some terrible, and we're always questioning, like, oh God, is that my dad in me? Is that my mom in me? What is that? And I would tell him to stop asking that question. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You are you on your path. And his whole quandary over questioning living up to his mom at first and then being angry at his mom for other things, it's like, you are not your mother. Even if you technically, as a gem, are your mother, you aren't. You aren't. It is free will, and you have your own choices, and trust your voice more, and stop questioning where it comes from, and just have a little bit more faith in you, and those questions will take care of themselves. That's what I would say.
Thank you.
Thanks. Hey. I just made that up.
Hi, nice to meet you. I find it really admirable how you portrayed Rose, because she's not only such a conflicting character, she was so mysterious for the majority of the entire show. So, and you only know what Rebecca Sugar told you. So you had to form your own opinions and then portray that in the way that you acted Rose. So from the beginning, when you first started reading as Rose to the end, knowing what you know now, knowing what we all know now.
Yeah.
How has your opinion of Rose changed? Has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Is it still kind of in the air?
Yes, I had a very simple view of her at the beginning, because that first scene is the tape. Steven, we can't both exist, right? And I just loved it because, oh, the heart-wrenching idea of having to leave your child blows my mind, and that speech was so beautifully written. And then, a couple seasons later, you see the take she did if Stephen had been a girl. And you're like, oh, that makes that less special. Oh, it was just a different take. Like, now, was that a performance? What is that? But then also, then you get the parts where you see the romance, the beginning romance between Greg and Rose, where she doesn't understand his emotions, and she giggles and she thinks things, and she says, oh, it's so cute, but it's like, it's meaningful to him, and she's like glossing over it, and also she lives so long, and humans have such a short existence, and all of that, maybe she takes it too lightly. Does she feel really real emotions? Where is she in that moment? Has she learned something? So maybe that tape with Stephen is real emotions. I mean, it gets really freaking complicated.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But then that's what makes it magical. That's what I love. And I keep saying the same thing over and over because it's the truth. I like that it's complicated. I like that I don't have it figured out about Rose. I don't think Rose had it figured out. I think she was like, literally, I think she was surfing the wave. Like, I think she was carving out as good a path as she could on the wave she was given, and making it up as she went along, with confidence sometimes and with faked confidence sometimes. And that's what we're all doing. We're all faking it. Yeah, so how has my opinion changed? Yeah, I got a little mad about her choices. And I'm like, oh my God. But it's also the genius of Rebecca. I'm like, she's so narcissistic. It's so about her. She's saying things, and then all the scenes with Pearl. Holy crap, right? And yet, she was the first one to teach Pearl that Pearl's an individual and not a Pearl, right? Who has the right to her own feelings and her own free choice and free will. And so in that way, my God, Pink was beyond her years. And then, but it also doesn't seem like she was just playing with Pearl at some points and like, oh, something shiny, you know, and she would wander over there and meet Greg. And then it's alluded to that she had many people before Greg, do you know? And that she finds humans are so funny, right? Oh, it's so fun. They're so amazing. And like, you start out so little, and we are just who we are. When we become where Jem is its full self from the get-go. But humans start out as these little babies. But I loved that point of view too. What I love most is her love of human beings, and that we do have free choice, and that we grow and change. And she was so curious about that. Her appreciation of life. But yeah, I don't always like her.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, long, complicated answers. Are you guys like falling asleep?
No, they're very engaged.
So my question is, if you could play any character in Steven Universe, what would it be?
I think I'm in the right character.
Like,
Because I'll tell you why. I could not play Pearl better than Dee Dee. And that's the only other mom that I would be like. I'm more like that in real life than I am Rose. I'd like to think I'm more like Rose. Sometimes I'm really cool and chill and like come up with the creative, like, I'm not as like neurotic or scared of things as Pearl is, but I am really detail oriented, but I can't touch what Dee Dee does. So I think I'm in the right spot.
I know we're supposed to have one question, but I have a second question. Is that okay? Okay. My second question is, how did you feel when you found out that Rose is actually Pink Diamond?
Yeah, I was gobsmacked. It's not a common phrase these days, but that is how I felt. I'm like, oh, yay, here we go. But it was also really fun to record that because she is Rose, but like grown up, really isolated with these crazy older sisters, and also spoiled, like me, I want, this is my planet. And then slowly her eyes are opened. And so you kind of got to play that sort of petulant preteen. Like that's what I think of as Pink. I find her, she's more juvenile, the voice is a little higher. And that's all coming from Rebecca. And I thought that was really, really fun to explore as an actress. I loved that. That Pink did not go as deep as Rose did later. That's why it's weird, because my character doesn't evolve this way in performance. My character evolved this way, backwards. Weird. What's that movie with Brad?
Benjamin Button.
Benjamin Button, that's exactly right. That's been my Rose Quartz experience, totally.
Okay, thank you.
Goodness.
Hi.
Hi.
You kind of answered the question, but
Okay.
I'm going to make it anyways. How do you feel about Rose's relationship with Pearl?
Oh, okay, it's my favorite aspect.
Okay.
It's my favorite aspect, and also I love Dee Dee.
Okay.
And so I'm not really acting. I love her on so many. She's so wonderful. And she's so wonderful to work with. And just as a human being, like we've become friends, and she'll say, did you get asked to do this thing? Because I think it's unkind. And I'm like, I love you for recognizing that. Like, okay, yeah, right, I agree with you. And then we'll conspire together. And I just love her, but I love that relationship, and it's so, Pearl's the heart of this whole thing. It's not Steven, it's Pearl. She gives up the most, and she does it, even though it's really hard, and she blows my mind, and so I love the scenes where she gets what she wants. I love the scenes where the love is there. I love that they dance a dance and don't need to finish each other's sentences. I love what that represents in our world. I love that it is representing, women out there in similar relationships, the healthy side of that relationship, not the unhealthy side of the rose-pink relationship, which I hope nobody is experiencing. Yeah, so that's really cool. I love every aspect of it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, we're getting close to the end here, so maybe we have time for one, maybe two questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Hi. Do you have any advice for someone who's sort of like lacking in confidence in what they're doing and kind of having a hard time figuring out how to stand out from the crowd?
The way to stand out from the crowd is to be as much yourself as possible, which is really hard because a lot of people are getting into this to not be themselves, to be anybody but themselves, which is what I got into this. I didn't want to be me. I want to be Belle or Sally or Rose. And the truth is, the irony is, the more yourself you are, the more authentic your performances are. So how are you having a hard time standing out? Or ask yourself the question, am I trying too hard to be what I think people want? Do I feel like if I'm fully myself, people won't get it and they'll reject it? That may be true until it's not. Somebody will get it. And that's the job you want anyway. As far as the confidence goes, I think that's meditation, and it's not something, you never feel comfortable. And I think some people are waiting to feel comfortable. And it's sort of like people waiting till it feels like the right time to have children, and I'm like, it's never the right time. You just kind of do it anyway, and then you figure it out as you go. But I'm not ready. Yeah. Are you waiting to be ready? You're never going to be ready. And that's confidence. Confidence, you never really feel confident. The people who feel confident might be a little clueless. They might think they're a little beyond where they actually are. So if there's not a shred of nervousness and I kind of don't know what I'm doing, then you're actually not throwing yourself out in the world far enough. Go to that mystery and that unknown and just, again, ride the wave. Like, just carve out your path. The confidence comes in pilot hours. That's what I say. So a pilot needs 10,000 hours to become a commercial pilot. People are like, how do you perform and not be nervous? I'm like, well, what are you talking about? I'm nervous all the time. But I've been doing it for so long that I am now familiar with what it feels like to be nervous. So I'm more comfortable in my nervousness than I was. So I am more comfortable not being confident than I used to be, right? I never feel fully confident. I'm not confident now. I'm like all broken out. This camera's too close. My phone ran out of batteries. Like, I feel like I'm boring you. These are the comments that are going on in my head. Like, oh, this is too boring. Stop talking. The 5-minute card came up. All of this. I think you just move forward anyway.
Okay.
And you will grow comfortable with the lack of confidence until you realize the habit is now just moving forward anyway. Oh my God, that was so long, but did it make any sense at all?
Thank you.
Yeah, good
Thank
luck.
you. Thank you.
So that is actually all the time we have for questions.
You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for coming, for
Yes,
sticking
thank
it
you so
out. I'm
much.
gonna go back to my booth for a little while if you want to come say hi. And I hope I get to see you tomorrow too. Yeah? Have fun, you guys. Be good.
Thank
you.
you.
Great job. You did so great.
Yay.
Perfect. Great questions.